Woo! What's going on, guys? Orange Forum coming at you today with another video. Today's video, doing the preview, week 11. We got the Jacksonville Jaguars coming home to Ford Field, to Detroit Lions. Jaguars coming in at 2-8, and the Detroit Lions 8-1 in the NFC North, first place, and the Jaguars are fourth in the AFC South. Feels like we haven't been at home in a while. Ford Field. I believe we're coming off five straight road wins. I want to say five straight road wins, seven game win streak. Both records, I think, for the Lions. Something that hasn't been done in a long time. Lions playing good football. A little bit of a scare last week. We talked about that, but it's nice to come back home, and then they go away again, and I think they come back home a couple more times. I think their next out of 5 games, I think they got 3 at Ford Field. So they had a little stretch there where they're on the road, and with some tough games, pulled through. But they got the Jaguars this week, and we talk about it a lot over here. Trap game. This is one of those games that is a trap game. I know a lot of people were saying last week, Houston Texans, that's a trap game. 6-3 team at the time. Is not a trap game, in my opinion. Houston Texans are a good team. Are they a great team? No. Is the AFC South weak? 100%. It's a weak division. But that wasn't a trap game because the Texans are pretty good. They're not a great overall team, but they probably will win that division, with about 9-10 wins. I'm sure they're going to squeak out about 3 or 4 more wins. My guess. Maybe they could fail, but I think they're a pretty good football team. But the Jaguars are not. They are not a good football team. It doesn't feel like it is a trap game to me, even though people talk about it as a trap game because they're such a bad team. But they have some guys over there. But let's talk about some injuries and stuff like that, some news and stuff like that. But we'll go on the injuries. Road team being the Jacksonville Jaguars, they go first. Running back Tank Bigsby, ankle, did not practice. He is out. Quarterback Trevor Lawrence, their original starter, been their starter there for a few years now. Shoulder, did not practice. He is out as well. Linebacker Yasir Abdullah, hamstring. Don't know if he practiced. There was kind of like a cross there, like a straight line. So I don't really know. Didn't report. I'm going to assume he didn't practice. So he was out. He's out as well, too. And then offensive lineman Ezra Cleveland, ankle, limited practice. He is questionable. Defensive tackle Mason Smith, ankle, limited practice, questionable. Running back Keelan Robinson, toe, full practice, questionable. So the guys will be testing that out. Then quarterback Tyson Campbell, shoulder, limited practice, no injury designation, good to go. Wide receiver Gabe Davis, shoulder, limited practice, no injury designation. Running back Ernest Johnson, hamstring, limited practice, no injury designation. Offensive lineman Blake Hance, knee, limited practice, no injury. Defensive end Josh Hines Allen, pretty good one there. Shoulder, limited practice, no injury designation. Offensive lineman Brandon Scherf, knee, limited practice, no injury designation. And wide receiver rookie Brian Thomas Jr., who's a really good one too. Had a chest injury, limited practice, no injury designation. And safety Daniel Thomas with a hamstring, limited practice, no injury designation. So they got a lot of guys out. They're banged up, just kind of like every team is, man. At week 11, some greater than others, but they do have some injuries to that roster right now, especially the big one being Trevor Lawrence. I think that offense is taking a dip, even though Trevor Lawrence is not a great quarterback. He's had his moments. Mac Jones is their guy now. We'll talk about that in a bit too, but that's a pretty significant injury for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now we go to the Lions, tight end Sam Laporta. That's the big one, shoulder injury. Did not practice. He is out. Nose tackle Broderick Martin, knee injury. Full practice out. 21-day window still going. He's only got I don't know how much longer he has. That window's got to be closing pretty soon. And then they got to make a decision on these 21-day windows. If you guys don't already know, 21-day window, when a guy comes off an IR, it's an evaluation period. So basically have 21 days to evaluate the player. It's 3 weeks. And in that 3 weeks, they decide, the coaches and all that get together to decide to put this guy in the roster. What do we do? Because if you don't, you're gonna have to IR him for the rest of the year. That's the rules of the ball game. That's why it's been taking so long for Broderick Martin to come back, and there's a few other guys too, as in Safety Ifiero Melifonwu with an ankle and a finger did not practice. He is out this game too. 21-day window. Cornerback Emmanuel Mosley with the pec, full practice. So those guys are healthy. Out 21-day windows too. So these guys are on that 21-day window, and it's coming to an end soon. We'll find out probably within the next week or so. Linebacker Ben Neiman, ankle, did not practice. He's questionable, so he'll probably be testing that out on Sunday. Cornerback Carlton Davis III, hand. For everybody that doesn't know, he did hurt his hand on, I think, Wednesday or Thursday, battling with Amon-Ra St. Brown and on some drills. He hurt his hand, finger or whatever it was, broke it. I think he broke his finger, something along that line. He was full practice though on Friday, no injury designation. He said he's good to go. Tough guy, warrior. Offensive tackle Taylor Decker, back, shoulder. Full practice. He actually got hurt 2 weeks ago too in practice on a Wednesday or a Thursday. So the guy's coming back slowly. That's good. But he's a full practice, no injury designation, good to go. And then linebacker Malcolm Rodrigo, ankle injury, full practice, no injury designation. He's back too. Good to have Rodrigo back because he was playing some good football for us. Depth chart. We go to the Jaguars. Do the offense first. Mac Jones, quarterback Alabama. You guys know who Mac Jones is. He was drafted a few years back by the Patriots, I believe it was, out of Alabama. A winner. Didn't do much over there in New England. Now he's a starter in Jacksonville because of Trevor Lawrence being injured. Running back Travis Etienne Jr. And D'Ernest Johnson. Those guys will be that 1-2 combo. Bigsby being out. Wide receiver Brian Thomas, the rookie out of LSU. Gabe Davis, Parker Washington. Not a whole bunch to worry about here. Brian Thomas Jr., the rookie, though, is a problem. He is a good one. Tight end Evan Ingram, a high-volume tight end. Gets a lot of passes thrown to him. Hasn't done that much since Mac Jones has been under center, but he's a pretty good one to watch. The left tackle Walker Little, left guard Ezra Cleveland, and is a little banged up. Looks like he's going. But they'll be testing that out. I think his injury was, Ezra just talked about it, a shoulder? I want to say a shoulder. Ankle. So, they'll be testing out those lower extremities down there. If not, it'll be Blake Hance playing there. So, and then center Mitch Morse, right guard Brandon Scherf, who's a pretty good one, who came from the Washington Commanders a few years back. And then right tackle Anton Harrison. The defense, defensive end Trayvon Walker. You guys know who Trayvon Walker is. He was a guy that was took in first overall a couple years back, and then we took Hutch number 2. So Trayvon Walker is a pretty good defensive end, guys. He didn't have the greatest rookie season. He didn't have a bad one though, but he's gotten a lot better. He's just getting better. He's got like 7.5, 8 sacks. He's a pretty good one, man. Trayvon Walker. He's a high energy guy. Gets to the quarterback, plays the run, so he can do some things. Defensive tackle Davon Hamilton. Defensive tackle Jeremiah Ledbetter. Defensive end Josh Hines Allen, who I think is another good one too as well. Good pass rusher. And I like their linebackers. Devin Lloyd is one of my favorite linebackers in the league. He's a good one. Foysiati Alakun, another linebacker. Then another linebacker that I like a lot too is Ventrell Miller. They have a pretty 3 solid starters at linebacker. Quarterback Ronald Darby, with the rookie kind of backing him up, DeAndre Prince. And then a strong safety, Darnell Savage. Free safety, Andre Sisco. I believe he was a Lion a few years back. I think Ledbetter was too. Jeremiah Ledbetter. I think he was. I could be wrong though, but Sisco definitely was at one point. I'm pretty sure too. Cornerback Tyson Campbell. Then nickel cornerback. We've got a rookie back there, Jarian Jones. So it's they got some names on defense, but nothing really. The rankings aren't too well. But I like a couple of guys on their defensive squad. Don't get me wrong. And we'll talk about that too. Now go to the offense real quick. Quarterback Jared Goff, running back Jay Gibbs, Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery, Craig Reynolds kind of rounding that off. Wide receivers Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jamison Williams, Tim Patrick, Khalif Raymond, Allen Robinson. Good 5 right there. Tight end Brock Wright will be getting the nod. Sam Laporta is out, obviously. Shane Zylstra. And we got some news too. I'll talk about that too. James Mitchell got added. To tight end. James Mitchell got added from the practice squad to the roster. It's his season debut, by the way. He's been banged up. He hasn't been healthy. Hasn't, they actually released him at one point, waived him. He came right back to the practice squad. So he's making his debut. So I think they're going to be obviously carrying 3 tight ends for this game. Wright, Zylstra, and Mitchell. Then linebacker Ezekiel Turner was signed to the active roster from the practice squad as well too. So I think that's his second time being signed to the roster. Now left tackle Taylor Decker back. Left guard Graham Glasgow, center Frank Ragnow, right guard Kevin Zeitler, Christian Mahogany kind of backing him up, the rookie out of Boston College. We'll see if he gets in any snaps. I don't remember if he played last week against Houston. I couldn't tell you. I got to keep an eye on that more. Right tackle Penei Sewell too as well, who had a bad first half last week and had a nice interview. I think it was with Tim Twentyman from the Free Press. I saw kind of a quick reel on Penei Sewell. Man, he's nothing but a leader. He's what you want in a football player. He acknowledged that he needs to be so much better. He acknowledged that he had a terrible first half last week. There's reels out there of Danielle Hunter spinning around him, putting him just beating him. There's Danico Autry who beat him last week from the Texans. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. He's one of the best right tackles, if not the best right tackle in the NFL, and one of the best offensive tackles in the game, bar none. He's probably the second best next to Trent Williams. Trent Williams isn't going away. He's getting up there in age, but he's still one of the best. And Sewell's right behind him. He's going to be carrying the torch soon. But he acknowledged he had a terrible first half in that Houston game and then locked it down. He had a lot of big, made-up blocks down that stretch in that Houston game. So Sewell kind of rounding that off. Then defensive end Josh Pascal, who's been playing better. Nose tackle DJ Reader. You got defensive tackle Lee McNeil, who's been a man possessed. Got Levi Ruzarike in there playing as well. Defensive end Zadarius Smith kind of coming into the fold now, going to get his first taste as a Detroit Lion. He'll be wound up. Dan Campbell coming out saying that they're going to probably ease him into it. Might be on a little bit of a higher pitch count, but he will be on a pitch count. Got to remember, guys, he's 32 years old. He's not Aiden Hutchinson. He's not here to save the day, but he's here to pressure the quarterback. He's here to get sacks. He's here to help out. This defense has been playing really well, and there's a nice addition coming forth right now with Zadarius Smith. But don't look at this guy as the savior. Don't think he's going to save the day, but he's going to help. He's going to 100% help this team. And I'm excited. But you got to remember he's 32. He's 32 years old, but he's here to help. And you still got Al-Quad and Muhammad. James Houston has been playing better too, as that rush end. He's finally got a sack last week. Pressures are starting to rise. So he's doing some things, and I think they're still going to do somewhat of a rotation, but Smith is normally your starter. I don't know if they'll even start tomorrow, though. You might not even start the game, but that doesn't matter. You know what I mean? It's still because Al-Quad Muhammad and James, they've been here for the longer haul, obviously. Al-Quad was kind of added a little bit late, obviously. James Houston knows the system. Muhammad probably knows a little bit better than Smith. Just pin your ears back and go. But Smith is going to be the guy that's going to be the starter, I think, down the stretch as we go. Then linebacker Alex Anzalone, linebacker Jack Campbell, I think, is having a nice second year. Rodrigo back in the mix. You got cornerbacks Carlton Davis III, who's playing really good football lately. Strong safety Kirby Joseph, free safety Brian Branch, and I think Brian Branch got hit again with a fine. I'm not 100% sure because I just read it today. It's kind of a late addition to telling someone that they probably could have found, maybe they found out yesterday or Thursday, but it just came out today on a Saturday, which I find kind of odd. Usually you kind of see that guys get fined, you start seeing it on a Tuesday or a Wednesday when the official week is over, because you got Monday Night Football, so that official week is done by Tuesday. And nothing was done Tuesday, nothing on Wednesday, nothing on Thursday. And I didn't see anything Friday. And today we're seeing that he was fined. He was fined $10,000+ for a hip drop tackle on Robert Woods from the Houston Texans. So There's video reel of it. There's a reel of it. There's video of it. It's ticky tacky. It. It's. I'm not sure what else he can do. He could have just maybe tackled him and drove him through. You know what I mean? But he kind of tackled him. He kind of did go down with his butt. It's a very. It wasn't called on the field. The ref's right there. But with this fine, I keep hearing that's not going to be called. Like, I remember was it Dean Blandino, one of those guys, one of those refs, former refs, trying to explain to the fans, well, that hip tackle is not going to be called a lot because it's a new rule, but it's going to be reviewed every week. Like, they go through games every week and they try to find stuff so they can pin stuff on guys. And I don't know if this branch one is legit. Maybe somebody want to tell me in the comment section, because hearing about it on a Saturday is a little wishy-washy. You would think that you would hear that at least by Wednesday, like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at the latest. So apparently 10,000 plus. So tell me if that's true, guys. A hip drop tackle, don't know. That's like the fifth penalty. That's like the fifth fine, I believe, for Brian Branch this year. Third or fifth? Third? He's got a lot in his young career. He's got 5 or 6, I think, fines in his career. So that might be his third or fourth this year. Because he had 2 versus Arizona, 2 versus Green Bay, 1 here. So that might be his fifth. So, and he's got a couple other ones as a rookie. So, you know what I mean? He plays tough. He plays through the whistle. Thank God he's a great football player, or you'd have to be dragging this guy. But at least it wasn't called on the field. So I guess we can say that's good. And then, strong safety, Kirby Joseph, for Brian Branch, like I said, cornerback, rookie Terry Arnold, and nickel cornerback, Amik Robinson. Now NFL team rankings, let's go with that as fast as we can. Offense, Jaguars, yards per game, 302.9, that's 25th in the NFL. Rush per game, 107.7 yards, 25th. Per rush, 4.7, tied for 4th. That's not bad, actually. Passing per game, 195 yards, 0.2. That's 23rd. QBR rating of 83.8. That's 23rd. They've given up 23 sacks. That's tied for 10th in the NFL. Their third downs into first downs is at a 33% clip, 30th in the NFL. So they are not getting first downs on third downs. Possession per game, 26 minutes, 23 seconds, 31st in the NFL. Not game points per game, 20.2. That gives them a 22 points a game. So they're struggling on offense. They don't have the greatest O-line. They got some weapons. Their quarterback's hurt. Their running backs kind of been back and forth, with Etienne being hurt, being not. Bigsby was running pretty well for them. He's out. So a lot of injuries, a lot of no production going on with that team. They're just a mess. The Jaguars are a mess. But don't sleep on them. And then the Lions, yards per game, 366.9. That's 6th in the NFL. Rushing per game, 147.3. That's 7th in the NFL. Per rush, 4.7, tied for 4th. Passing per game, 219.6. That's 13th in the NFL. QBR rating of 106.7, which is excellent. It's 3rd in the NFL. Sacks, they've only given up 19. That's tied for 6th. Third down percentage is at 43.6%. That's turning thirds into firsts. That's 5th in the NFL. They're doing that at a high clip. Possession per game, 30 minutes, 21 seconds, it's just straight up 14th in the NFL. Points per game, 31.6. That's number 2 in the NFL, right behind the Baltimore Ravens, who are like at 31.8. So great offense, doing big things. Everybody fairly healthy. You got everybody out there, actually, except Laporta. So, they're running pretty crisp. Now defense, just to the Jaguars, yards per game, 390.6 yards. That's 32nd in the NFL. They're one of the worst defenses in the NFL. Yardage-wise anyways, they're giving up points too. We get to that. Rush per game, 129.4 against. That's 21st in the NFL. Per rush, 4.3, tied for 6th. Passing per game, they're giving up 261.2 yards, 30th in the NFL. QBR rating against that defense is a 106.2. That's 32nd, so the worst there too. They've given up 21 sacks. They're tied for 12th. Teams are getting third downs against them, turning thirds into first downs at a 43.6% clip. That gives them, that's 25th in the NFL. That's not good. Possession per game, they're on the field a lot at 33 minutes and 36 seconds, 31st. And then points per game, they're giving up 26.4 points per game. It puts them at 27. So lots of problems going on defense as well. They got a couple big names over there, though. I like Trayvon Walker. I like Josh Hines-Allen. I like their linebacker core as a whole. Ventrell Miller. I like Devin Lloyd. Who's the other guy that I really like? Olakun. I think he's a really good, he's a tackling machine. So they have some players. They're just not putting it together. They're just not putting it together. Now our defense, yards per game, 345 total yards, which puts us at 20th. Rushing, 101.8 yards against. That's number 6 in the NFL. 4.4 yards against, tied for 7th. That's actually worse than the Jaguars. Pass per game, 244.2 yards. That's 27th. We give up a lot of air yards to the air guys. QBR is at 75.1, which is number 1 in the NFL. So a lot of air yards, but not a lot of touchdowns. I don't think they've had a game, knock on wood, where teams have thrown multiple touchdowns against them. Like I said, giving up a ton of yards, but not giving up a lot of scores, which is great. So that bend but don't break, right? Sacks, they got 24 on the year. That's tied for 10th. The third down percentages at 31.4% of teams turning thirds into first. That's number 1 in the NFL. So we're getting off the field at a really good clip on third downs. That's nice. And then possession, 30 minutes and 9 seconds. They out there that long. That's 15th in the NFL. And points per game, we're giving up 19 points a game, and that's 7th overall in the NFL. So that's fantastic. So they're doing lots of things offensively, doing things defensively. Everything looks good. And we talked about the news already. Elevate James Mitchell, Ezekiel Turner, the linebacker. But talk about the game really quick. I already talked about it pretty much. Mac Jones is their starting quarterback this week. He hasn't done a lot. He's a fiery kid. He's a competitor. He's not as talented as Trevor Lawrence, even though Trevor Lawrence has struggled here and there too with a lot of fumbles and interceptions. Mac Jones is no stranger to that as well. A couple good weapons over there in Jacksonville, especially Brian Thomas, the wide receiver, Brian Thomas Jr., the rookie wide receiver out of LSU. They got a really good tight end who's a high volume tight end, catches a lot of passes. Not too afraid of their secondary wide receivers and stuff like that, with Gabe Davis and Parker Washington. Not too concerned about those guys. Etienne has had some moments at running back. You just as a defense, this team, what the Jaguars, they don't score a lot of points. They don't get a lot of first downs. Their quarterback situation is kind of bad. It's just, you know what I mean? And they're just not doing, they're not scoring big. They're not getting ton of air yards, ton of yards on the ground. It's just, everything is looking like a Lions blast off right here. It really is. Get to Mac Jones. I think they're going to be throwing a ton, because I think this game is going to get carried. I think this game there's a possibility it could get carried away real quick. The Lions like to start off slow. They like to kind of goof around. It's not that they're doing it on purpose. It's just that they kind of start off slow, and they've done that in the past a little bit too much. But get to Mac Jones, stop the run, do all the fundamentals that you're supposed to do, and I think you're going to really, put a dent in that defense. And then offensively for us, they got a couple guys I'm worried about. Not really worried, but concerned. Trayvon Walker can get to the quarterback. Josh Hines-Allen can get to the quarterback from the other. Got 2 pretty good bookends. Their secondary gives up a ton, though. They give up a lot of air yards. They give up some rush yards. It's just not a good football team. And I mean no disrespect towards the Jaguars. Because we were in that boat, man. We were in that boat. And we were in that boat for a long time. Hopefully we stay out of that boat. But this is a team, Jacksonville, that has got a lot of problems, man. They got coaches on the bubble. They got quarterback situation. Are they going to be able to figure that out? Is Trevor Lawrence even going to come back? When it's all said and done, I'm sure he will. He's a competitor. But they don't have a scary offense. And I think, was Darius Smith coming back, finally getting his debut as a Lion. Pascal playing well. Carlton Davis playing well, even though he's a little nicked up. That's okay with the hand injury. Linebackers are coming back. Rodrigo coming back. Campbell playing well in his second year. Anzalone doing his thing. Ali McNeil playing like a beast. With the phenomenal safety duo that we have, I can see Mac Jones getting picked off 2-3 times. I really can. I can see them just twisting the field over, on our side a lot. It might not even be a big day for Goff, like yardage-wise, which it's happened a lot this year. That's why we only have 219.6 yards thrown. That's not a lot because Goff hasn't had to put on a cape and do it all. Usually our defense is letting up all kinds of points and stuff like that. It hasn't been like that. Our defense has locked it down. So, as our defense, get the Mac Jones, stop the run, everything will be gravy right there. And then we're gonna run the ball, I think, a lot. They don't have a good run defense. They give up 129.4 yards a game. That's 21st in the NFL. They give up more through the air, though, 261 on average, 261 plus on average, actually, passing per game. So, it's going to be a mixture. Ben Johnson, they're not going to take this team lightly, though, but I think it's going to be a blowout. I think the spread is 14 in favor of Detroit Lions, which is crazy for an NFL game. Crazy. You don't hear about stuff like that. That's why I thought, if you're going to bet this game, betting 14, it could happen. It very well could happen. I think the Lions are going to win by more than 14, but I don't know if I'd ever touch that, especially in the NFL. But I think it's going to be, the prediction of this game, I think it's going to be 13-37 Detroit Lions. I think they're going to beat them up pretty good. That's over a 20, that's like a 24-point win. I honestly think they're going to, they don't have the firepower, Jacksonville. And we got the crowd. We're in Ford Field. It's going to get loud in there. Even though Jacksonville's there, it's going to get loud. It's going to be blue and silver all over the place. I don't know how many Jacksonville Jaguar fans there are. But I do know one guy, actually. I do know one guy. But you don't hear about him. You just don't hear about him. And I think this is going to be an ass kicking. I'm not falling for the trap game stuff. Any given Sunday, though, it could happen. It could happen, but the Lions are too good of a football team. They're on a roll. They're destined. This is the possibility of a really ugly football game for Jacksonville. So 13-37. That's what I'm predicting, guys. That's the final answer right there. So, there's a couple guys that they have in Jacksonville that are really good. They got some good players individually, but as a whole, I'm not worried about that football team. I'm not worried about that football team, but I'm just a YouTuber. I'm just a fan. You know what I mean? And all those guys over there, they got a lot more to worry about than I do. But I think this game is going to get carried away eventually. I think this game could get carried away. They could score more than 37 Detroit, but we'll see. But 13-37 Detroit Lions, guys. We're going on 30 minutes for this one. It's going to be a long one. I appreciate you guys coming in, watching the video. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button at the bottom right. Don't forget to hit the notification bell up top. Don't forget to like, comment, share this out. What do you guys think, man? Jacksonville in the house. We got a couple games down here that we should win pretty easily, but you never know. What do you guys think? Grit, Detroit versus everybody. Let's go Lions. Boom.